Hey guys, this is Kieran from MSK Physio, and today we're looking at an exercise that's going to help us build some hip extension. It's a nice thing to progress into one-legged exercises. If you're not maybe ready for that, you get a little bit of extra support from the other leg. And so if you're working through any sort of hip rehab from injuries or back rehab or even ankle or knee, then this is a great exercise for you. So there's many variants of commonly prescribed exercises, and each of those variants is for a unique situation for whatever that individual and their trainer sort of runs into on the day. It's a way to not necessarily deviate from the path, but how can I tackle this block to movement that I have? And a really common block that people get is the ability to sink into their hip during hip flexion, and then to be able to come out of it. And sometimes jumping to an unstable environment like a single leg RDL can be a little bit more balance focused. And because they're more balance focused, or the balance is the limiting factor, it means they're not able to then develop as much strength or power in that range. Because when we lose balance, we stiffen up and we reduce range. So we can use a modified RDL. If you're pretty happy with where your squats are at and your deadlifts and things like lunges where you got 2 feet on the ground, but you want to start progressing into something that challenges the strength but doesn't quite challenge the balance as the main thing, then a modified single leg RDL is one of those exercises. So to begin with, you just need something behind you to put your foot on. Kind of like a Bulgarian split squat, except it's more of an RDL or more of a hinge at the hip. So I'll show you from the front what that looks like. Well, front angle. If my leg is up here, it's able to almost be my rudder. It can bring me back in line if I'm falling out of place. Toes could be under, back of the foot could be under, whatever suits you and the mobility through your ankle and your comfort. But what you're going to try and do is sink backwards like this. So we don't want to focus too much on body parts just because it takes away a little bit from your ability to have good feedback with the movement. Better to focus on some external stuff. So one way that we could think about that is I'm trying to look for a seat behind me and I'm not sure where it is. And you know that if you're not sure where it is, you're not going to keep sitting down like a squat. You're going to kind of go into a hip hinge so that you can keep your balance. You're going to keep searching. You're like, where is that chair? Same thing here. So I'm going to sink back like I'm looking for that chair, and I'm going to go as far as I can until I'm limited by my own strength or anatomy. And then that anatomy might be a alteration in the structure of your hip. It might just be a strength issue with these tissues being able to lengthen through your glutes, your hamstrings. Eventually, you're going to hopefully get down to parallel with the ground. So your torso is parallel, but you're maintaining somewhat of the shape of the spine that you started with. There's nothing wrong with bending forward. We're just trying to put the focus of lengthening into the hip extensors. So instead of a traditional RDO where I'm here and I go back, same movement, I'm giving myself some extra balance by having my foot on the back here. Tipping forward, coming back up, forward, and coming back up. Can add some load. If I put the weight in the same side leg, it's going to put more weight through that leg. If I put the weight over into this hand, it's going to still put weight into this leg, but it's going to ask a lot more of my torso stabilizers as well as my glute max. If I'm over here, I'm just feeling a lot more stable. So this adds a little bit more of a balance demand. So this would be an easier version. This would be the progression. Different uses though. This is obviously more of a balance element. So both have their purposes. Just choose what your limitation is. As I go forward and back, this arm is kind of like a pendulum, and it's just dead weight, holding on to the weight. If you find that you're starting to drift onto the outside of your foot, going this way, so as I go back, I'm drifting and the foot's coming off the inside on the ground, then what's happening is you're not sinking back into your hip enough. And for that, it's not just backwards, it's the ability to push the hip out to the side into adduction and internal rotation. So think about really looking for that chair. If you start to see that foot start to come up like this, if I look now, it's coming up and I'm like, hey, where's that chair? If I sink back further, now I'm going right into glute, foot goes flat down, and I'm stable again with 3 points of contact on that foot. Really useful variation, really nice stepping stone, and a really nice way to just teach how to access some of that ball and socket joint that maybe you're not aware you've lost access to. Gonna get a lot of DOMs from this one. Take your time with it. If you're feeling like you're off balance, sometimes a weight can help you feel more balanced. Maybe a weight in the same side hand as the leg. Play around with that, but make sure that it's strength focused. You don't feel like you're falling. Otherwise, go back to more two-leg variations where both feet are on the ground, a little more stable. If you like this video, then please hit like below. Otherwise, to check out more of our content in the future, you can subscribe to our channel by clicking our logo over here. And to check out our latest video, click up here.